What's going on, guys? This is Chevy with Tasty Loot Gaming, reviewing I Am Setsuna, a Japanese role-playing game by Tokyo RPG Factory and published by Square Enix. The game was released on July 19th, 2016, and is available on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, and on Windows PCs. Just as a quick review, if you are a fan of old JRPGs and need something to bring back that nostalgia and experience of those, I personally believe that this is a must-play game. As for the rest of this video, I'm going to go a little more in depth. I'm going to be mostly reading bullet points and occasionally commenting on them. So let's get into it. So I Am Setsuna, you play as a character named Endir, who, without giving too much away, essentially gets put into a position where you are escorting Setsuna through her journey. When I first started playing the game, I actually felt that it felt almost very familiar, I guess, and I end up feeling this way a lot through the game as it progresses. The game has a very large, reminiscent story of Final Fantasy X, if you are familiar with that title. Just a very bleak world and a journey that continues periodically to essentially just keep things the way they are. I can't really say a whole lot more without spoiling the story of the game, but it does evolve into a unique story that I do believe holds up to just the game itself, which I was very happy to see. To talk about music a little bit, the music is all done with piano. It is very pleasant to listen to. I think the tracks used in the way they are fit the game really well. My only gripe about it would be that it doesn't seem like there are a lot of tracks, and it does tend to become a little repetitive, though I don't want to knock it too much because I do think it is a good soundtrack. I just wish there was a little more variety. Because, like I said, you do kind of feel like you are listening to the same things over and over and over again. Moving on to character or to like design elements of the game, gameplay-wise, it's exactly what you would expect from a JRPG. Triangle opens your menu. You can only save at save points or on the world map. Very menu-based in that way. Different equipment slots. A skill menu. One thing I do like in the menu system is that there is I can't remember what it's called right now, but it's essentially like an encyclopedia of your adventure, and it'll give you information on any units you run into, any spells you've learned, techniques, etc. And it feels really cool because you can actually go through and get a little more information on the world that way. I think the level and map design is done very well. By the time I feel like I'm gonna get burnt out or maybe a little bored with the area I'm in, it is quick to change to the next section, which is really nice. I also appreciate, for backtracking reasons, there's a lot of times where a shortcut will be presented so that if you're running back through, it is quicker, which is great, especially in more of the end game where you are backtracking to collect things, if you so choose. By no means did I ever feel like I had to get those items, which was really nice. I also have here the snow everywhere in this world. It's very beautiful. It really fits the aesthetic, especially with the story, really well. My only complaint is that's the only thing you really get to look at, with a few exceptions of like some dungeons. So a little variety would have been nice, but I do think that it looks very well. I also really appreciate that as you're walking through the snow, you leave footprints behind in the snow. It's a nice little touch they added. I always appreciate small details. Character designs, I think, are great. I think every character looks cool. I think they fit their archetype very well, and the art pieces of them that you get to see periodically through the game, and in the specifically when they're talking, you get to see their face next to the text. The drawings are really cool, very to be expected almost, I guess, with a lot of Square games, but still, it was nice to see. This game also has cooking in it. Cooking's a little strange in this game because you get your recipes by having the ingredients on you. So as you're exploring, you'll find these little shiny dots all over the map, and when you click on them, you'll get ingredients, and they can either be cooking ingredients or they can be crafting ingredients. If you have all the ingredients for said recipe and you talk to an NPC, which vary, there's no like, set type of NPC. It'll just be random people. They are set, but it's not like you go to an inn and there's an innkeeper who always gives you that recipe. They will see the ingredients and ask if they can have them, and in return they teach you the recipe and usually give you one dish, and then at any point in time you can go to a cook, and if you have those ingredients, make the dish. What that does for you is when you eat the food, the next battle you have, you will get some buffs and I believe experience gain, and usually better loot drop chances. So if you're farming specific types of monsters, specifically like there are monsters in the game that are kind of like buffed up versions of the normal monsters. I believe they're called Spear Knight monsters. I could be wrong on that one. They always are in the same spot. So if you come back to that map and you go to that spot, eat the food, get in that fight, get more drops type of thing. So it's good for farming, but I didn't find it very practical while actually playing through the story. Speaking of inns, I noticed there really aren't any inns in the game, which isn't a big deal, but it seemed a little strange that I couldn't go rest somewhere. You do, however, heal all the way up from leveling, and you seem to level at a pretty decent rate in the game, so it wasn't too big of a deal, but I did find myself using a lot more items in this game than I usually do in JRPGs, so that was kind of strange, but it's not really a positive or negative, just a observation for the most part. Let's see. Combat. So the game features active time battle system. You can have it be true active, or you can have it be essentially paused when you are selecting your turn. You're probably very familiar with this if you've played any the more recent traditional JRPG Final Fantasy games. The combat system also features a tech system which is extremely reminiscent and very much so inspired by Chrono Trigger. Essentially, you equip these crystals. They're called Spear Knight, and they give you different abilities, both passive and activatable moves, and you can combo them with either a pair or up to 3 people, and you will get essentially amplified moves. Like I said, if you played Chrono Trigger, this isn't going to be new to you. It's very cool to see, though. I didn't think I'd see this system be used for anything else, especially since it seems like Chrono Trigger is a dead series. Let's see, there's momentum charges acquired by filling a secondary bar through attacking. So as you're playing, down in the UI, you'll see there'll be a circle next to your character's plates, and when those fill, you'll get a charge, and I believe you can have up to 3 charges on each character. You get these either by attacking, being attacked, or while it's your turn, not doing anything or standing idle. Now when you do that, the bar fills up, you get these charges. Now when you do a move, whether that is a normal attack or even a special attack, you hit square and there'll be an indicator when it happens. But you hit square at the right time and it essentially will give you additional effects. In the case of your normal attacks, it's usually just a second hit of damage, and other moves will have different things. An example I'd like to give is the rogue character in this game. I was using a move with her where she would essentially appear behind them, hit them, and jump back into her place. When you used the charge, she would also heal some life back. I use that all the time to keep her topped off, especially in boss fights. Also, while doing those, the more you do them, the more chances you have to activate fluxes. Fluxes are essentially, when you equip items in this game, they'll have a flux bonus listed on them. Examples will be like crit up, crit damage, resistances, and other buffs of multiple different types. And these are permanent. So when you hit square in combat and you're using those moves, you have this chance that feature on your character's accessory can attach itself permanently to the move you use. Now, to use that move I brought up earlier, where I could, essentially teleport behind someone, hit them, and jump back into place, if I have a crit ring, equipped, there's a chance that when I use that move with momentum, I get a permanent crit chance or crit damage buff, depending on what kind of item I have equipped. Which I thought was a really neat system. It allows you to kind of customize your moves. So you just, you pick what kind of build you want, and you can actually go with that. And I always appreciate being able to have a little bit of uniqueness to my character in that regard, especially in a game where the characters are kind of like, I didn't get to make them. They were presented to me. They have their types, but yet I still get a little bit of customization to them. I think that's really neat. You also have a chance for singularities to happen. These are things that can essentially activate for the rest of your combat phase. You'll see a notification in the top left corner of the screen when it happens, and they can be an assortment of things. The one that comes to mind immediately is the next time a character in your party is supposed to take damage to the point where they would die, they instead have 1 hit point, so they get to survive it with 1 hit point left. These are random, so you can't count on them, but they're super nice. Especially, I've been in a couple fights in the game where I was unsure about the monsters I was fighting, and I didn't kill them in the right order. And some monsters will have suicide moves, so I kill one, it does its suicide move, and all of its friends are still there, and I was like, shit, I'm not gonna have enough health, to survive this. And they'll attack, and all of a sudden I'm still alive, and I got 1 hit point, and that bought me enough time to heal. So pretty cool, even though random. It's just a nice feeling to be able to get them. I'm gonna briefly talk about story, but I'm not gonna get into it because I don't want to really talk about any spoilers. But like I said before, this game feels very reminiscent of Final Fantasy X. You have a journey you're going on to essentially subdue a threat that continuously happens. I liked the story. I think it holds up on its own. Felt very reminiscent in the beginning and a little bit in the end, like I said, of that game, but it has enough of its own things going on, I guess, to make it feel unique, which is great. And there's an element from the Chrono series, at least inspired by, I should say, of time being a huge element to the game, which once again, I don't want to spoil for you. I really think, you know, if you're interested in these kind of games, you should play this and experience that ending. They even, without giving too much away, explain why save points exist in this game, which I thought was a really neat touch. You don't ever see, like, save points are always given to you, and they're just explained, like, you use these to save, and that's it. They don't actually belong in the world. They're just there systematically. And in this, they have an actual, like they're involved in the world. Which is it game breaking or game changing? No, but it's cool. It's a small detail. Always a fan of small details. To kind of wrap this up, like I said before, I think if you are a JRPG fan, and especially of old school JRPGs, this is a must play. I'm not sure the price right now on all platforms. I do know it's not a full price game. I believe it's $30 USD on PlayStation 4, which is the platform I played it on, and I think it's worth every penny. The game offers enough and has enough little extra content to it that you can find yourself actually spending some time in the game, and I feel that the overall product is just really, really enjoyable. I'd love to know what you guys think. Have you played I Am Setsuna? Have you thought about it? Do you plan on picking it up? Do you just not care? Comment below, let us know. But I think that's going to wrap this up. So as always, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give the video a like and hit the share button. Don't forget to check us out on Tumblr and Twitter at Tasty Loot Gaming, and also on Twitch, Sleep Division. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, guys, have a good one.